Okay, we have another resolution. I'll ask the clerk to introduce item number 14, please.
Submittal of a resolution recognizing Ken Topping for his exemplary public service to the citizens of San Luis Obispo County and the state of California.
I'll ask Mr. Topping to come on down. And I will ask Supervisor Gibson to, when he's down here, to read the resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair. By way of introduction, we're going to read this. It's my honor to read this resolution, my privilege to read this resolution, my honor to know Mr. Topping and to know how well he's served the residents of this county. The loss of the two commissioners who are with us today to the Planning Commissioner and the third that will be retiring toward the end of the year is going to be a big hole to fill. I have known Ken for some time, and this is one extraordinary gentleman and one extraordinary public servant. The resolution reads as follows. Whereas from 1973 to 1986, Ken Topping was the Planning Director and Deputy Administrator of Development Services for the Environmental Public Works Agency of the County of San Bernardino. And whereas from 1986 to 1990, Ken was the Planning Director for the City of Los Angeles, where he oversaw preparation and implementation of significant plans and projects. And whereas Ken has had his own consulting firm, moved to Cambria to become the General Manager of the Cambria Community Services District in 1997, and since 2001 has taught part-time at Cal Poly, where he led a research team preparing the State Hazard Mitigation Plan. And whereas Ken has been recognized internationally for work integrating city planning with safety and sustainability, and has advised on disaster mitigation and recovery in Australia, China, Korea, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Japan, as well as on the rebuilding of New Orleans. And whereas he was co-principal investigator on a National Science Foundation study comparing post-earthquake redevelopment after the 1994 Northridge earthquake and the 1995 Hanshin Awaji earthquake in Japan. And whereas he has co-authored books on community resilience published by FEMA and the American Planning Association, including Planning for Post-Disaster Recovery, The Next Generation in 2014, Hazard Mitigation, Integrating Best Practices into Planning in 2010, and Planning for Post-Disaster Recovery and Reconstruction in 1998. And whereas he has authored a chapter on Southern California water supply in Resilient Coastal City Regions in 2012, a book on climate change and the future of U.S. and Australian cities. And whereas Ken has served with distinction as the District 2 representative to the Planning Commission since 2011, where he has rendered thoughtful and well-reasoned judgments on plans and projects large and small, whether they be widely popular or deeply controversial. Ken has spent countless hours in hearings on the Carrizo Plain Solar Farms, Jack Reddy Park, the Shandon Community Plan, the San Luis Obispo County Energy-Wise Plan, the Cold Canyon Landfill Expansion, the Cambria CSD Fiscalini Ranch Development Plan, the Countywide Water Conservation Program, a behavioral health hospital in Templeton, the Santa Margarita Quarry, and the Phillips 66 Rail Spur. And whereas Ken has pioneered innovations in city planning, stakeholder participation, disaster management, economic development, local government, and natural resource conservation. Now therefore be it resolved and ordered by the Board of Supervisors of the County of San Luis Obispo, State of California, that we hereby recognize Ken Topping's extraordinary record of public service and his dedicated efforts toward making our community safe, healthy, prosperous, and livable, ensuring a better quality of life for present and future residents of San Luis Obispo County and the state of California. The Board extends to Ken its sincere appreciation on his retirement from the Planning Commission and wishes him the best in future endeavors. This is my wife, Bill.
Phyllis Topping, Phil for short.
Welcome, Phyllis.
And she taught you all you know.
She made everything possible.
That's it.
Mr. Topping, would you like to say a few words?
That's a dangerous question. A good one.
Of course, yes. First of all, when I became a junior planning assistant with the County of Los Angeles in 1957, and Phil was expecting our first son, I had no idea where this train would wind up, particularly San Luis Obispo County. But it's been our sincere and deep pleasure to be part of this community and to serve it in this manner. There's a quality of life differential here that is exquisite. It's extraordinary. And we've benefited from, got to watch out. We've benefited from this opportunity, particularly being part of the Cambria community and also being part of the larger community. As planning commissioner, I was honored to represent the second district perspectives on the planning issues. And I determined that there are three things, basically, that are important for a strong land use planning program to benefit a community. The first is, of course, a competent, capable, and professional staff. The second is an informed public and involved public. And the third is a decision-making process, including the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, which can take the best of what is put forward from the perspectives of the public and the staff and meld those into strong, wise planning decisions for the future. And particularly, I'd like to thank my colleague Eric Meyer for his extremely creative participation in the commission. But the commission, as was said, is a collegial body presently, and we hope that can continue through future appointments. That teamwork is really crucial, and honoring of staff opinion is crucial. And by the same token, I want to express my appreciation to the board for listening to the commission and taking into account our suggestions as you see fit. And we appreciate your sensitivity to that aspect of our role. So that was a lot longer than I thought I was going to be, but again, my thanks to all of you and to staff and to the members of the public. And now I can retire again.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public if anybody wishes to make comments about this. And I have one speaker slip right now. Jim, you can go first.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Supervisor Compton, board members. Take a little bit of different tact here. We know that Eric's a great citizen planner, but we also get to work with Mr. Topping as not only a citizen planner, but a professional planner. I don't know if Mr. Topping will remember this, but it's just amazing that when you have someone on the next level, how lucky you are when you're down here, or like most of us were chained to the wall of the cave and we're looking at shadows. This man has gotten much more closer to wisdom and knowledge of land use than all of us. So we look at this from staff members' perspective. You probably don't remember this, but I was a little upstart graduate student at Cal Poly, and I was teaching one class, and they gave me an office, and I had my dog under the desk, and I shared that office with Mr. Topping. And he probably said, "Who is this kid?" And I probably said, "Who's this guy?" But to be able to have that experience, knowing that you were planning director of the city of Los Angeles, I could not imagine the mental gymnastics your brain must be able to do to handle that job. But to think of all the things that are laid out here of your work that you've done in your professional career, I think inspires me. I know it inspires me. I think it inspires these people in the back of how are we going to create and sustain 50 or 60 years of giving service to our community. So we are humbled by you and we appreciate you. And please don't go far away. We will be asking you for your wisdom. Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Bergman. And Amanda Rice wishes to make some comments.
Thank you. Good morning, Board. Amanda Rice, Cambria. I would first like to say thank you very much to Mr. Topping for his service. And I just want to tell a very brief story. Some of you may know we have a bit of an emergency with water in Cambria. You may have heard about it. In 2014, January, February, when we first declared the emergency, one of the first things I did was call Mr. Topping. I didn't know the huge amount of things that he had done, but I did know that he had expertise in emergencies and dealing with them and planning. So he sat down with me. He was very gracious, and he took his time, and he helped me understand better the ways of going forward. And we're going to miss having somebody that actually lives in Cambria here on the Planning Commission. But I am very, very happy for his service, and I'm glad that he's going to stay in Cambria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for comments. I see Supervisor Arnold first, and then Supervisor Hill.
I just wanted to say again, thank you to Mr. Topping, but with you, your resume is so extraordinary, and I just think how lucky we've been here in this county to have you generously donate your expertise for our benefit these years. So I don't even think thank you is quite enough, but we appreciate you.
Okay, Supervisor Hill?
Thank you. Yeah, Ken Topping has been he's just a model of a community leader. And I think we've been blessed to have the quality of people like Ken and Eric and others on our planning commission for what they bring, and brought to the job, and also for the great way that they performed it, and the collegiality and respect for each other and staff and the public, are really exemplary. And, I salute you both. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Eric.
Supervisor Meacham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Ken, I know my Planning Commission appointment, Jim Irving, he speaks very highly of both of you gentlemen, as well as the rest of the Planning Commission. And again, you guys come from diverse backgrounds, diverse ways of thinking about things in some cases, but you always come to a good conclusion and a respectful one. And I can't say enough about how much I admire that in all of you. So thank you for your work. You've done extraordinary work in some very difficult times. Oftentimes, I wish you guys, all five, were sitting up here and we could just watch you. So.
Supervisor Gibson?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I think everything has been said about an extraordinary career of public service. Let me just add my best wishes for what comes next, Ken. I look forward to seeing you around Cambria, and I know you're deeply connected to that community. And like Mr. Bergman says, I've got your phone number, and we'll seek your counsel as the occasion arises. So again, thanks very much. You wish one more.
I just have to say this.
Thank you, Phil Topping, for making this possible.
And with that, Madam
So,
Chair, I'll move
I would like to make my
okay,
comments.
Okay, sure.
So thank you again, Mr. Topping and Mr. Meyer. And I was going to thank your wife too, because I know you spend a lot of time on this job studying and reading and doing that. And it's just as important that you have a supportive spouse. So thank you, Phil, too, also, and the three of you. So I'm assuming Supervisor Gibson wishes to make this motion.
Motion to approve this resolution.
And a second?
Second.
And a second by Supervisor Hill. And we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Meacham?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Ms. Compton?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you again, the three of you.